Then he had a brief interregnum before coming back as the non-executive chairman, but a big influence at the club, of course, and a wealth of experience. But he talks about threats and abuse directed at him, and that was part of the decision-making process, saying it's dismayed his family. Chris Sutton is alongside me here at Tannadice. Chris, before we get to the game, just your thoughts on Peter Lawwell's announcement today.
Yeah, well, it's been a difficult season, for Celtic on and off the field, and Peter making that decision to step down today. You mentioned, 21 years at the club, and it's been a really successful period. But Peter, in his statement, I had a look at his statement talking about the abuse which him and his family had suffered. It isn't on, and in many ways, I feel really sad for him and his family that they had to put up with that level of abuse and him stepping down. So it's a sad day for Peter Lawwell, who did so much for the club.
Let's look at this game then. It's not going well on the field for Celtic either. The last time they were here, they won 5-0 in April and clinched the Scottish Premiership title. They've lost 2 cup finals since then, out of the Champions League, and the new manager's lost 3 in a row. How does he try and turn it around tonight?
Well, he needs to turn it around. I mean, bearing in mind he's been in charge for 3 games, lost all 3, and there are some Celtic fans who I know who are thinking enough is enough already. I've got to say, I think that's a tad harsh when you think of the nature of the games. Hearts, who are table toppers, Roma, who have had an excellent season so far. St Mirren in the cup was the real sickener, I think, and the pressure is on Wilfred Nancy. I think the supporters want to see a team tonight who they can start trying to believe in, and he needs 3 points. As simple as that. It's a huge game for him.
Everyone's looking at the system. Do you think he'll carry on with his 3 at the back and the way he wants to play, or has there maybe been too much focus on the system?
No, I think that people are quite right to look at the system, because it does seem to have had an impact. It's come in and changed from the way that Martin O'Neill played. He's gone to a back 3, and it seems that some of the players don't. It doesn't look like they're really buying into it at this moment in time. I've got to say, I feel for Wilfred Nancy coming in halfway through a season and then trying to implement a different style when he's just not getting the time on the training ground to do that. So I think that's enormously difficult, but he's come in and said, right, I'm going to do it my way. I think it was a brave thing to do. A lot of people, myself included, were thinking, well, why not just in the early part of his tenure, just keep it the same as what Martin O'Neill he'd found success doing. Martin won 7 out of 8 games. Wilfred Nancy's come in and said, I'm going to do it my way. Hasn't worked just yet, so he needs it to work tonight. I don't think he'll change the way that he's going to play, which he has played already, though.
Just finally on Dundee United, they've not won in their last 7 games, but do you think they'll smell blood tonight? Jim Goodwin was at the League Cup final watching Celtic. Do you think he'll have a game plan to try and combat anything Celtic try and do? Well,
the truth is, if there's ever a time to play Celtic, it's tonight. Wilfred Nancy talked about players doubting themselves. So Dundee United haven't been on a good run, but they'll see this as an opportunity at home at Tannadice to put one over on Wilfred Nancy Celtic.